Okie dokie. Okie dokie. It appears that we are now live. We are now live on the YouTube. So, yeah, for those of you guys, while we're waiting on people to come into the chat, obviously going to be covering a lot of topics, including but not limited to the fact that the crazies are trying to cancel Caitlin Clark over a joke. The fact that somehow people are projecting Paige Bueckers to score more points than she did at UConn. And people are also projecting Paige to lead the WNBA in assists. And if it's not Caitlin Clark, let's be real, it's going to be Alyssa Thomas. But you're going to see that and more on this live stream, lads. So, we have got 5 people in We've got 5 people here. Fever fan from Colorado. How are you? How are you? And obviously, look, we have seen a few things posted by the Fever in the last 90 minutes or so. I just got home. Apologies, I was a little bit late. A little bit late today. How are you, MPT? How are you? But yeah, so we are going to start it off by let's take a look. Let's take a look at my Twitter bookmarks to see what we start off with. So obviously we might go recent enough. We're going to go early-ish. We're going to look at the Sydney Colson point of view. We're going to look at the Sydney Colson POV. So that's literally on Twitter right now. All I'm doing is I just bookmark a bunch of stuff, and my stream is just going to be talking about the bookmarks. How are you, G-Money? How are you? But yeah, so we have 71 people in here. Once we get to 100, we're going to be starting. We are going to be starting the old stream. NFL draft is today. Okay, hopefully your team picks who you want to pick. I don't know the first thing about the NFL draft, so I don't think I can give much input in terms of the NFL draft. I haven't a Scooby-Doo about the draft. Not gonna lie. I know less than... If less than nothing was if nothing is knowing nothing, I know less than nothing. But we are going to talk about Colson Cam. We're going to talk about Mick Talks Fever. We got more talk. We got more Full Wiley talk. We got more Paige talk, stuff like that. And we got more talk than Mick Talks Fever. But it's quite a lot of fever, let's be real. But today we are going to start off by talking about the Sydney Colson Cam. So the Indiana Fever showed off Sydney Colson Cam. Let's take a look right here. POV Sydney Colson on the floor for the Pacers shirt toss.
We need some calls.
Already complaining to the refs. They literally started off the video with Caitlin Clark complaining to the refs.
Alright, y'all. At the Indiana Pacers game, about to throw some t-shirts. Y'all know, oh, my bad. Keep going. Yeah, you good. No, you're good. Wait, don't kick us in. Oh, Pop's out of here. Pop's signing out. There we go. You excited for the shirt on?
And this is, to be fair, this is the first time she appeared. This is literally the first time that Michaela Timpson appeared, because she hadn't been announced up to this point. She genuinely had not been announced up to this point. It was just oh yeah, she's kind of there.
Come on, Rook. Kels, don't walk by. Come get in here. That's the Rook. Y'all get in here. Oh, excited for the t-shirt toss, ladies? Oh yeah, that's the energy. That's the energy we need, Kayla.
Everybody has 2 t-shirts. She has about 15.
This is more. It's a Beaver account. Yeah, this is a Beaver account.
The one about her is 2. Bree Turner is 3. Michaela Timpson is 2.
Yeah, she did. Look at her dress. Why does Caitlin have 16 shirts? I don't know. Don't try to force one on me. I'm not throwing. Y'all are throwing and I'm watching. You gotta throw it. If they're on camera, you gotta throw it. Y'all excited for the t-shirt?
Sophie Cunningham is 2. Natasha Howard is 2.
Okay, they were like cheering and stuff. I was ready, okay. All right.
That is probably, not going to lie, that may be Gilly Elaine's biggest input for the Fever. That may be her biggest, what she most remembered for as being in this vlog.
All right, we're going to see who goes at the final.
Someone just said in chat they average 60K a year. Yeah, but like, when you take into account all the perks they get with charter flights, with everything, it probably costs the organization for everything that they get in terms of like their accommodation, charter flights, everything, about $300-400K per player easily, and that's being conservative. How many t-shirts Caitlin Clark have? So you can throw the furthest. I would assume Caitlin probably.
All right, we're gonna see who goes at the farthest.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 minimum. No one else is more than 3. Jesus, they got a pretty big pop. Like, the only thing that, like, last weekend that was a louder cheer was when, you know, the I Believe in Joe Hendry song came on during WrestleMania. It's the only louder pop they can hear about than this. Maybe Paul Heyman. Ooh, that was not a good throw by Sophie Cunningham. Not a good throw. Not bad. But for someone who was literally on her college's football team, apparently. Like, I mean, I would expect a better throw from, it's not college, from former high school football player Sophie Cunningham. I don't know the context of this, but from former high school, yeah, I would have expected a bit of a better throw from her. Oh, who was that? Was that Kelsey? That was Natasha Howard. So disappointing. That was a bad throw. To be fair, she's there to catch the passes. No, that is a throw from someone who competed in shot put. You can see just the way her feet is. Like, you can see just how she threw it. That is a... Just the way she's landing and the way she's spinning. That is a shot put. That is a shot put throw if I've ever seen one.
We need some calls.
I love how they got it on camera that Caitlin Clark complaining to the referees.
All right, so nobody threw it far.
Like, nobody threw it far. No, like that is still crazy. That is actually on video. Caitlin Clark. We found what she said to the referee. She's complaining to the referees in a game where she's not even playing. And this is a player who thinks she's going to get less than two or less technical fouls this year. She set the over-under at 2. I've said it. The over-under might be 2 under suspension. Someone in my chat just said, am I the only Irish person who says top of the morning? I've never said that in my life. It is just a meme. It is just a meme name for these streams. But, and the reason it's not just random live streams is because I'll be doing morning streams and I'll be doing live watch-along streams. Those streams every day. But, yeah, like, it is just mad. It's just mad that she actually thinks she can get away with no calls. Or sorry, not with no calls, without getting teased throughout the year. She thinks she's gonna get less than 2. She's already complaining about the referees. Nah, more than 2. She's going to punch at least 3 rim posts. Is that what they're called? Like, she's going to at least 3. She's gonna punch that. But, Aaliyah Boston, oh my bad, Caitlin Clark working on the refs. Hell of a job, Colson. That's the thing with Colson, though. You will always say this. You will always, or say not always say this. You always see it when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Or say not Caitlin Clark, sorry, with Sydney Colson. Is that Sydney Colson is, she just makes the people around her laugh. And that's, I think, why she was so beloved as a teammate, why the Aces fans were so annoyed when she left. Well, they call her the face of the league. We'll crash out about this video. She's trying to bribe refs. I mean, I'm going to talk about this later, either later in the stream, if you're in the stream, or a later video. But yeah, not quite bribing refs, but, you know, they did try to cancel her. Have a feeling this will get used a lot. We need some calls. Yeah. Yeah, that is going to be memed. Every time Caitlyn gets undercut, this is going to be memed. Let's be real. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. I cannot believe nobody took more than 3 and Caitlyn takes about 10 t-shirts. Yeah, she does not take herself seriously at all. But yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. I don't think there's a chance that Caitlin Clark ends up with 2 or less technical fouls. But caught on video already complaining to refs, and preseason hasn't even started. You know it's only going to get worse. But yeah, Caitlin Clark jersey came yesterday. Yeah, I got mine. Somebody sent me a few. Someone sent me a few because I couldn't get them in. You can't get them in Ireland. And someone sent me a couple of Caitlin Clark jerseys and some Fever t-shirts, which I'm so appreciative for. But Caitlin complains to the refs non-stop. Like, what are we talking about? Like, half the players in the league complain non-stop to referees. But, like, they have Sydney Colson. They have Sophie Cunningham, who, by the way, do we not remember Sophie Cunningham against the Fever last year? Do we not remember what she did? Like, do we not remember what Sophie Cunningham did last season against the Fever? Like, people are talking about obviously Caitlin Clark. Caitlin's going to complain to the referees, but it's always one of those situations where when it comes to complaining about refs, when it comes to all this stuff, like, she's going to pick up, I think she's going to pick up 3 or 4 technical fouls. She's going to punch. She's probably going to, saying that over under 2, she's aware the problem is making adjustments. She's got people watching her back. And that's the thing. That is the thing. She has people that will take technical fouls for her. Do you guys not remember last year? She was about to be tossed from a game. I can't remember. It was the Seattle Storm, I think. It was right before she got hip checked by Kennedy Carter, where she was about to be tossed from the game because she got earlier on in the game. I think, did she get punched? I think she might have gotten punched earlier on in the game by Victoria Vivian. Yeah, she got punched by Vivian's, and then she was getting hacked the whole game. She got hit in the head a few times, and the referees weren't getting calls. And one time she caught a rebound and she got shoved out of bounds, and the referee didn't call a foul. And she's about to get teed up and tossed. And Christy Sides runs down and loses her shit at the referees. Make a video game-by-game prediction. Of course I'll be doing that. Of course. I'll be doing that live on streams as well. That'll be part of the live stream. Thank you for the $5, Douglas. Really appreciate that. But Sophie Cunningham is going to do stuff like that. Do we not remember what Sophie Cunningham did versus the Fever last year? I'm going to see if I can find the footage of it on Twitter. But there was a bit of a Fever Mercury brawl. I want to see what it was. But the Fever and the Mercury got into like a brawl last season. Okay, I can't find it. Just looking on Twitter. But yeah, here it is. Here is what happened last year. So this is, by the way, this is how many people got teed up in this scenario. So watch what happens here.
There's 12 teams.
Sophie Cunningham. So everyone's kind of in.
It's highly competitive.
Yeah. Nothing happens. So the Fever in a huddle.
These players.
Sophie Cunningham swings a blind elbow towards the huddle. Temi, is that Temi? Temi tries to fight Natasha Cloud. Well, Natasha Cloud, in fairness, Natasha Cloud does start a bit, but it starts by Sophie Cunningham throwing a blind elbow towards the Fever bench. And then Natasha Cloud did very little, and Temi's trying to kill her, and Sophie Cunningham immediately, walks away.
A little too close to each other in each other's neighborhood. Is the
walks
first
away.
thing.
Caitlin Clark walks away as well.
Just a little turf war.
But you just know, that a person that could, and again, she actually got away with it, which is the funniest thing. She got away. She didn't get teed up. Copper got teed up, Wheeler got teed up, and Temi got teed up. And she goes and starts that. And that's the thing when it comes to Sophie Cunningham. If you just look, even it was Sophie Cunningham and Copper, like they were teammates. They were genuinely teammates. But if you look at, there's a page called Women Hooping. There's literally this page. It's an old YouTube page. And half of the stuff they show is just like technical fouls. There's highlights. There's everything. But on this page, half of their big posts, I'm not joking when I say this, it's just about brawls. There are so many Sophie Cunningham brawls on this page. Like, Sophie Cunningham literally starts constant fights on the floor. And that's what, like, the team has needed an enforcer. Sophie Cunningham is an enforcer. I don't care what anyone says, what anyone thinks. Like, Sophie Cunningham, it doesn't really matter. Sophie Cunningham and rookie Emily Engstler. This is Sophie Cunningham against the Fever. What did Sophie Cunningham do? And most of the time, Sophie Cunningham's going to be in the wrong. What did she do to Engstler? What did she do? That's nothing. That is nothing right there. But that's the thing. She's like, that is absolutely nothing, but no one's going to mess with Sophie Cunningham. And that's one of the important things for the Fever, is that when she's on the floor, nobody is going to mess with Sophie Cunningham. And, like, again, she's gotten into it with some of the tougher players in the league. Like, her getting into it with Kat Copper for an entire WNBA finals. Like, the two of them got into it. Ooh. And she's not somebody that you're going to want to play against. And that's the thing when it came to the Fever. The Fever were too nice last year. Like, there was no one on the Fever that you did not want, as a fan, you did not want your team to play against. And when it came to obviously, when it came to playing against other teams, like, if you were the Fever, you never wanted to play against, like, the Sun, because you don't know what Alyssa Thomas is going to do. You never really wanted to play against the Storm. Like, just because of their old vets on the team, because they were physical, they were tough. And now, like, the Fever have a player that other teams don't want to play against. For better or for worse. Like, Sophie Cunningham, again, she's, like, on that line between, like, ultra hyped and enforcer and being a dirty player. She kind of toes that line. Quite a lot of time she's over that line. Like, quite a lot of time. I don't think she's quite Alyssa Thomas level of dirty player, but, like, she's there or thereabouts. She's not Liz Cambridge level of dirty player, but she's not that far off. Gut feeling is Sophie Cunningham will be getting payback and all the people took cheap shots in Caitlin Clark last year. I can see it. I can see that. Like, that's the thing with Sophie Cunningham, is she's not going to let anyone mess with her. She's not going to let anyone mess with her teammates. And I think it's something that the Fever have always needed. And I don't think a lot of, like, people, obviously, we knew they needed it last year, but the options that people were given were crazy. Like, do you guys not remember when people were talking about bringing Angel McCautry back to the WNBA? They were talking about bringing Angel McCautry back. They were talking about trying to convince Liz Cambridge to come back to the WNBA. I'm sorry. If you're Liz can't, like, I don't know. I don't think that doing what they did was the answer. But I also strongly do not believe that Liz Cambridge is ever the answer. Not only was she not the answer, she's never the answer. But now you've got Sophie. You got Natasha Howard, who's not an enforcer, but no one's messing with Natasha Howard. In fairness, no one's messing with Aaliyah Boston either. Aaliyah Boston's that strong. And now it's like Caitlin's going to have to be guarded because of the team they have by smaller players, because they can no longer put their point guards on Katie Lou Samuelson or their point guards on Lexi Hull to starting lineup. So she's going to have to come, she's going to be guarded by smaller players, so she's not going to be physically getting bullied this year. But it's a big one. It is a big one. And Sophie Cunningham is such a perfect player, because when you cannot mess with the Fever, they becomes infinitely harder to beat. As well as that, when you've got somebody who's a wind-up artist, so that they can see where the game's going. If the other teams are beating them, that they can try getting ahead of the other team's best player, which the Fever did not. Whatever about the Fever having, like, Temi, who could defend Caitlin, and Leah Boston, they didn't have someone who could get in the head of the other team's players, and it helps. It helps having an Alyssa Thomas. It helps having a Draymond. As much as as much as sometimes you don't like them, like it's maybe not modern Draymond, but it helps having those type of players. It really does in a team. More so the environment Sides created last year. I think like, given Sides basketball knowledge, she did a good job. Like, by her basketball knowledge, I mean her lack of basketball knowledge. Like, given what she really had to work with last year, I actually don't think Christy Sides did that bad a job. Like, if you ask me, rate how she did out of 10 last year with that team, I don't think there's a coach that wins more than 23 games with that team if she won 20. So, I'll give her a 6 out of 10, especially because she got the team through all the social media crap. I actually genuinely think Christy Sides did about a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 job. She's just not the coach you want to have if you're a good team. The problem is, though, is she's not. You can tell just the basketball knowledge is lacking. Thank you so much. Oh, my God. Thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much. I almost accidentally timed you out for that, but thank you so much. She was handicapped by Lynn Dunn. Man, Lynn Dunn giving Katie Lou Samuels to the max. I just don't know. I just don't know anymore. I just don't know when it comes to basketball with that. Like, that one made no sense. The Erica Wheeler one, fair enough. She was like a vet. She'd been an all-star. She was an all-star MVP. There was a lot of not a lot of reasons, but there were reasons to bring in Erica Wheeler, especially when you had Aaliyah Boston as your rookie and you wanted her to come in and get the ball to Aaliyah Boston. There was no reason to bring in Katie Lou Samuelson. Hit the like button. Yeah, we're at 46. Can we get to 50? Can we get the 50 likes, lads? You reckon we can get the 50 likes? I don't know if we can, lads. I don't know if we can. If we can get it to 50. Paige going to try guard Caitlin Clark. Paige is not going to try guard Caitlin. Oh my God! Oh my God! If Katie Lou got the 1 year max to make the minimum salary, it would have been fine. 2 years, that's the problem. Exactly. But oh my God! Thank you so much. Thank you so much, lads. Oh my God. And by the way, thank you guys so much for all the support on the streams. Thank you. Like, it makes content so much more fun to record. Like, obviously, like, the videos going out are going to be going out anyway. But notice how happy Kelsey Mitchell is. Yeah, she seems very, very happy with how things are going right now. But it has made content so much more fun the last week. Like, I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow, unfortunately. Just because I have other obligations streaming for 2K. With 2K, like, I do run multiple YouTube channels. Which is why I always find it hilarious that people think that I'm somehow hawking everything on YouTube. Instead of going to where everyone else gets their sources from. That I don't get all my sources from Ken Swift on Twitter and Correlation on Twitter and Clark Season on Twitter. And by typing in Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, or whatever player into news and searching up the news articles. But I always find that hilarious. But oh my God. Thank you so much for the $5. Thank you guys so much for everything in the stream, by the way. Thank you. But stat prediction for Caitlin Clark, 24.3, 8.2, and 6.7. They're not. She's gonna average. My prediction is 21, 9, and 4.5. She's not gonna rebound the ball as much. I don't think she's gonna rebound the ball as much. She's not gonna play as many minutes. Like, she's not gonna play as many minutes. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey, best backcourt. Yeah, someone's gonna have to take. She could average 10 assists a game. Like, it wouldn't actually surprise me to see Caitlin Clark average, but it all depends on the system. Like, I mean that. Like, it all depends. Caitlin Clark's averages next year all depends on the system and how often she has the ball in her hands. Like, I think if she played heliocentric, if it was a heliocentric type half-court offense with the continuing to push the pace and transition, I think she would average 11 assists a game with this team. The thing is, they're playing a motion offense. They're playing a motion offense, which means there's going to be a lot more of Caitlin Clark on the wing. And not necessarily off the ball isn't a bad thing. But it's not just going to be Caitlin Clark go stand in that corner and watch the other players go to work. So Aaliyah is going to be getting the ball a lot in the high post. They're going to be getting the ball a lot in one-on-one situations. And that's kind of their whole offense is now, is to create spacing, is to create opportunities via the pick and roll, but also not just a first side attack, which was the biggest problem with their offense last year, was that Caitlin Clark, if Caitlin Clark, anything other than a Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston pick and roll, the team didn't score from. So now you're looking at how much they have in terms of like just players on the team, and players are going to have to get touches. And I think Sophie Cunningham's going to be getting a lot more. She's going to be getting some, not point guard duties, but if you guys don't know, with a lot of motion offenses, especially ones where they kind of play more 4 out, 1 in, you're going to be seeing Sophie Cunningham have to make decisions. Kelsey Mitchell playing more of like a, not that they're point guards, but you're going to look at almost likely a positionless offense where it doesn't really matter who takes the ball up, where everyone's, for lack of a better word, it could be at times an equal opportunity basketball where the ball's in her hands less, which ironically will take down her turnovers even if she's more careless with the ball, if she has the ball in her hands less. So when it comes to her assists, you just never know. Angel Reese going to average 18 and 14. She's not going to average 14 boards. She could average 18 points a game. Like, she's going to be playing the same amount of minutes as last year. Her teammates aren't bricklayers like they were last year. And if she gets better, you have to take into account that if Angel gets better at finishing, she loses 2 rebounds a game because she caught her own misses. She caught maybe 3 of her own misses a game. Not a negative thing, just purely look at the stat sheets. And yes, if she scored those 3 times instead of missed and caught the rebounds, that's better, even though her rebound numbers might be less. She mightn't have got the double-doubles, but her points are going to go up. But you would hope that if she's better at finishing, she's going to average less rebounds because, again, like, and she also didn't get back on defense last year. Like, she was double-double hunting last year. But I do think she's going to average probably 11 boards, but 18 points could happen. 18 points could happen. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, I think her splits are going to be higher. Her counting stats might be lower. Because, again, they played a very heliocentric offense. But it just depends. For me, it depends on how good their defense is. If the Fever end up being a top 6 defense in the WNBA, because of how well Caitlin Clark works in transition, she could average 11 assists a game. And I think Caitlin Clark is going to break the 19 assists in a game record. That is my call. She'll break that record. I don't think she's going to break 10 assists a game, but I think she's going to break the 19 assists in one game record, because all it takes is another team just not being able to shoot well. Like, all it's going to take is the Dallas Wings is Arike having a bad game. And you look at the rest of the Dallas Wings team. You look at the power forward center matchup. Natasha Howard versus Natasha Howard versus Nalissa Smith, who can't keep up with her. Natasha Howard runs in layups. Aaliyah Boston and Tiara McCowan, who's not fast enough. They just run in layups. And it just depends as well on also what the Sky do. Because, like, if the Sky end up just playing like they did last year, where they're 2 bigs, their job is to get the offensive rebound and not run back on defense, Caitlin could have a 20 assist game against the Sky. Because all it takes is Aaliyah and Natasha Howard cleaning up on the boards. And it's an open layup every single time. Like, if you watch how she had 30 and 12 assists against the Sky last year, if you look at the footage, the vast majority of her assists and her points came from fast break situations where Angel Camilla hadn't crossed the halfway line. Especially, sometimes Camilla was back, and Camilla had to pick her up a few times. But most of the time, Angel hadn't crossed the halfway line. So it is going to be an interesting one to see where her stats are, because I don't see her averaging above 20, because there's only so many points to go around. Like, Natasha Howard's not going to average 17, but I predict her going down to around 13, 14 a game. I think Aaliyah Boston could end up in single digits this year. And I think Kelsey Mitchell is going to average around the 17, 18 a game. But it's all about the team. It's all about winning at the end of the day. And it's better to average 17 on a winning team than average 19 on a lesser team. So I can still see her keeping up those averages. Like, last year was 8.6. I think she's going to average in and around that in assists, but I don't think she's going to average the 10 plus she averaged after the first 10 games. As well as that, I just think it's going to be more efficiency. I think it's going to come down more to efficiency. And I think just the offense that Stephanie White is going to run is going to be more flexible. I think it's going to be way, way more flexible in how things are going. And without the offense being so heliocentric, and let's be real, last year in the half court, Caitlin Clark either scored, got an assist, or got a hockey assist on like 95% of possessions. Like, even in the playoffs last year, it took until 2 minutes to go in the second quarter for the Fever to score a point that wasn't either scored or assisted by Caitlin Clark. And they went way up in game 2. And then Christy sides because she turned the ball over 1 or 2 times, took the ball out of her hands. So the team just didn't score for 7 minutes. So, yeah, that's just the thing. When a lot of people are predicting Caitlin to be an MVP this year, I don't think this is the year where Caitlin wins MVP. I think they've got so much talent around her. I think that the MVP is going to go to Fee Collier. But I think that the more talent it is around you, the harder it is to put up counting stats. Regardless of your efficiency, regardless of whatever, it is a lot harder to put up counting stats. So I think all W first team, maybe 17 to 19 points per game. I think she might end up being in and around what she did last year in terms of points per game, especially because, again, she started off a little bit slower. But I think she averaged 23 points per game post-Olympic break. She's not going to do that. Even though I think her game is going to be better, she's going to improve. But I think it's going to be a really efficient 19 points per game. On, like, instead of 43-33 splits from last year, I think it's going to be more so like 47-36, which are like elite, which are absolutely elite shooting splits for a guard. So that is my prediction. That is my prediction, what I think. So let me know, lads, chat, and in the comments if you're watching this as a video. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Caitlin Clark this is what she's going to average, or do you think her average is going to be way higher than last season? Leave in the comment section or in the chat right now if you're live on stream what you guys think Caitlin Clark's averages are going to be. I am very interested in seeing what you guys think right here. So let's see. Don't think Caitlin Clark cares about what she does as long as she wins the championship. Yeah, I stand by that. Caitlin Clark, I think, would rather average 15 points and win than 20 points and lose. I stand by that one. I fully agree with that statement. And is anyone going to type in their predictions? Hear you. No more 30-point triple-doubles, but a lot of 20-point double-doubles. She never had a 30-point triple-double, but she could have one. 20 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds. You know what? Not far off. I think that could very well be. That could very well be it. Could very, very well. Yeah, I think that's probably the most accurate thing. We'll get a good idea from early minutes of preseason games. Probably when we see starters and game plan. We'll see nothing from preseason. The Liberty lost to Sky by 40 in preseason last year. We'll see nothing from preseason. What are we talking about? We're talking about Caitlin Clark's stats. We are talking about Caitlin Clark's stats. And I'm going to wait for the thing, obviously. Fever are going to win 37, 38 games. They are not going 37-7. No way. Hey, triple doubles. 4 and it's an unbelievable season. Honestly, 4 and the season's been unbelievable. That's all I'm gonna say. If she can get 4. But they're not historic anymore. They're not historic. Like, she's not in rookie year anymore. There's no more rookie. There's nothing more like rookies for like rookie records for triple doubles. There's not as many rookie records that she can break anymore. 22, 11, and 4. If she does that, she's winning MVP. If Caitlin Clark averages 31, 11, and 4, she's winning MVP, and the Fever are the 1 seed. But so yeah, we're gonna talk about Paige Bueckers right here. Paige Bueckers. We're gonna talk about one of the things that has been predicted, and a kind of crazy one. A crazy one. 18 and 19 points. And these are definitely not Paige Bueckers' stats, by the way. If you're wondering on the video, I've asked about Caitlin Clark's potential stats. But I just saw this interview from Fansided. And I'm pretty sure this is this the same site that said the Fever is like 6th for the power rankings? But it is all the same site that had Caitlin 4th for MVP. The Wings suddenly have one of the most league's intriguing backcourts 1 year after Dallas ran a combination of Odyssey Sims, Sev Hughes, and a JC Sheldon as backcourt pairings with Enrique. Hey, Odyssey Sims averaged 18 a game. Let's not disrespect Odyssey Sims. Let's not disrespect Odyssey Sims. If Paige Bueckers comes in and does what Odyssey Sims did last year for the Dallas Wings, she's had a great rookie year. Let's not like disrespect Odyssey Sims. The team majorly upgraded by drafting Paige Bueckers. No, we are not doing that. We are not doing that. I'm sorry. Yes, I would rather have Paige Bueckers than Odyssey Sims, but we are not doing that. Under no circumstances are we disrespecting the Odyssey Sims, who when she played for Dallas, these were her stats. 18 on 66% of the field, 7 points. 12 points on 50% shooting, 13 points on 45%, 14 points on 55% shooting, 25% points on 61% shooting, 19 points on 54%, 23 points on 52%, 24 points on 58% from the field. We are not disrespecting this Odyssey Sims. We are not doing that. We are not doing that. A major upgrade by Paige Bueckers. We are not doing that. If Paige Bueckers does what Odyssey Sims did for the Wings last year, it'd be unbelievable. This should be an explosive backcourt, but will it be the highest scoring duo in the league in 2025? No! No! There are a number of really good backcourts. So while Rika is top scoring guard, doesn't necessarily mean that we're Bueckers decided to outscore every other backcourt. Do you want to know why Arike is the top scoring guard? Because Arike shot the ball every single time she touched it. Arike shot the ball every time she touched the ball last year. And also, they didn't play defense. Her team did not play defense last year. On the season, Arike shot 38. In fairness, 34% from 3 isn't too bad shooting. She shot every time she touched the ball. But doesn't necessarily mean that Bueckers decided to outscore every other backcourt. What are projected starting backcourts? They're going to outscore Jordan Canada and Alicia Gray. Yes. Sloot and Ariel Atkins, sure. Lindsay Allen, Marina Mabry. Lindsay Allen is not going to be starting for the Connecticut Sun. They're in tank mode. They're going to start one of the Europeans. Or say they're going to start Layla Khan. Julie Van Loo, Tiffany Hayes. I have this weird feeling that Julie Van Loo is going to average like 14 a game next year, and Tiffany Hayes is going to be all W second team. That's like my weird prediction. I think she's going to pull an Arike. She's going to average like 26 a game. Not 26 a game, geez, like 22, 23 a game. Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, obviously. Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, not enough. Ari McDonald and Kelsey Plum. Who's not starting then? Like, which is Ray Burrell not starting then? They're not going to beat it. Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride. Nah, they're not going to score enough points. Phoenix Mercury, let's talk about this one below. I actually don't even know if they have a point guard. So Erica Wheeler is going to start. Erica Wheeler is going to start for the Seattle Storm. Erica Wheeler might not make the roster. Sykes, Citron. Sykes at the 1. Jesus, lads. I would assume... yeah, they actually have a point. Jade Melbourne's going to start at the 1. Have you some guesswork? Georgia Amore could take the point guard role. Our team could play big with Aaliyah Edwards the 3. Aaliyah Edwards is the 3? Shug Sutton to get into the starting lineup. What are you on about? It's going to be Jade Melbourne. It's going to be Jade Melbourne. But yeah, obviously the Wings court. Which of these teams? The Dallas Wings, Arike, Paige Bueckers averaged 19.9 points. So both of them hit the same numbers. They'll like it, cake. You think Beck to Paige is going to average the same as she did at UConn? They actually think Paige Bueckers is going to average the same as she did at UConn. That's kind of crazy. It's not that easy. The absence of another on-ball guard beside Ogunbowale is likely to lead to a dip in her volume, or say the presence, not absence. The increased efficiency in a slightly reduced role can make up for some of that scoring loss, but not all of it. We're more likely to see something like 2022 Arike when she shot 40% of the floor, but on 2.2 fewer attempts, which led her to 19.7 points. Bueckers is going to be a rookie. She's likely to struggle a bit more than she did in college. 19.9 would be tough. That'll be more than Caitlin average as a rookie. Bueckers probably going to do a little bit more, probably going to be a little more differential. On the other hand, the Wings don't have a lot of great scorers outside backcourt. Dejanay, Nillis Smith, and Tiara McCowan are good players, but outside maybe Smith and are going to be high-volume scorers. So maybe I'm wrong to assume Ogunbowale suffers fall off in her scoring output. They're not going to score more than the Fever backcourt. They're not going to score more than the Fever backcourt. Let's be just completely honest here. The 4 arguments that Clark another year of experience under her belt. The against arguments that DeWanna Barr and Tasha Howard won't be as many shots to go around. Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark averaged nearly 50 points per game combined for over like a 7 or 8 game stretch. There is no way. Las Vegas Aces should be interesting. They replaced Plum with Jewel Lloyd. Lloyd's capability of lighting up the scoreboard. With Aja Wilson locked in as the top scorer in Vegas, Lloyd's seeing is probably right where she finished last year off. So the Aces of the best scoring backcourt team would need Chelsea Gray to ball out. No. Chelsea Gray is... I wouldn't even mind if they just had said screw Jewel Lloyd. They actually should have just straight up traded for the number 2 pick. Like, if the Aces were smart, they wouldn't have taken Jewel Lloyd. They would have actually just straight up traded for number 2 and put Chelsea Gray at the 1. Just got a free, used the salary to get a free agent at the 2. Like, if they were smart, they wouldn't have traded for Jewel Lloyd. But, you know what? Courtney Williams, a combined average 26.1. Yeah, they're not doing it. They're not doing it. So will Dallas be the highest scoring? It's either Dallas or Indiana. For my money, I think the answer's Indiana, obviously. But just barely, and I mean just like we're talking 1 or 2 points per game, because I expect Clark and Iguodala to average around the same amount of numbers. Discussion comes between Paige Bueckers and Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell averaged the same amount of points in the WNBA last season as Caitlin Clark did in college. It's not Caitlin Clark, it's Paige Bueckers did in college. Like, Caitlin Clark dropped significantly in points per game. Dropped significantly in points per game from college. Significantly. Everyone does drop significantly. And it's not like other years where there were these unbeatable UConn teams. Like, UConn were pretty good. But to act like it wasn't 3 players at UConn and that Paige didn't get quite a lot of shots and a lot of them were open because of her teammates, but she's not going to get open in the W. I genuinely think it would be a shock if Paige ends up. We've seen Mitchell score the ball. We've seen her and Clark play off each other. What we don't know is how Bex will look. Will she play more of a distributor role? Then again, who else can score in Dallas? Nalissa Smith is a 15-point per game scorer. They did not bring in Nalissa Smith to sit on the bench, I would assume. And if Nalissa Smith is on the floor, she's going to get in the way. If Nalissa Smith is not, I'm not joking when I say this, if Nalissa Smith is not scoring the ball, she's useless on the floor. So if she ends up starting, you're going to see quite a lot of Nalissa Smith post-up touches and Nalissa Smith back to the basket. So I just don't see how they're going to be a top scoring backcourt. As good as I think Paige Bueckers is, I don't see this being the top scoring backcourt in the WNBA, because you're going to need to average, I would say, 37 points minimum. 37 points minimum. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't think it's going to take, if Arike averages 23 points a game, possibly. But I see Paige getting close. Paige, I think maybe 14, 15 a game, but she's going to be closer to 10 than she might be closer to 10 than she is 20, if we're being honest. But, yeah. Malonga won't get enough playing time behind Ezzy and Neka, and Ezzy, I think Mara will win because she will have more scoring opportunities than Paige. Malonga is not going to win Rookie of the Year because she's leaving for a month in the middle of the season. Like, we can be honest. She's literally leaving for a month. Mid-season. It'll be interesting to see Dejanay playing with Nalissa Smith again. What happens there? Oh, we've hit 100 likes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. We've hit 100 likes. We are, 40 minutes into the stream? Thank you guys. But, yeah, like that is just one of those things. And my internet's gone. I kind of was wondering why everything was going slow. Paige stat line prediction: 14 points, 3.5 assists, and 2.8 rebounds. Hell of a rookie season. Hell of a rookie season. Almost 300 watching. Yeah, we got 290. We got 118 likes. That's fine. If you like it, if you like the stream, like the video, that would be great. That would be great. And so, lads, you guys are here on the stream, which I've titled it this for one reason and one reason only. Well, not for one reason, for quite a bit of a reason. You guys are wanting to hear about the crazies. And I'm not even going to give the people the benefit of naming them. But like the fact that there's this narrative coming around, these think pieces. Do you remember the think pieces? Remember when I said this a couple of days ago? When Caitlin Clark pump faked the fan. When Caitlin Clark pump faked the fan. Like, hit them with the down low too slow, and then eventually gave them the shirt. The amount of think pieces I've seen. So I've seen very little saying that she was disrespecting a fan by joking with the fan. But this, oh my god. Oh my god. Caitlin yelled, "Hit the Bucks guy in the face" at Natasha Howard when she was throwing away her last t-shirt. Like, Sophie's going to be suspended twice, taking text to Caitlin Clark. She really thought Diana Taurasi was a psycho. Fair enough. Face of the WNBA, she needs to be suspended and fined. And, like, this is clearly a troll. This is clearly a troll. But, like, I saw the things on Threads. It's obviously a joke. It is a t-shirt. It is a t-shirt and by the way, she says it after it's thrown. She doesn't whisper it to her and go, and saying, she says it after the t-shirt is thrown. She says it as a joke. But there's all these think pieces about how Caitlin Clark is violent and is like wishing violence upon fans. She made a joke about a t-shirt throw after the t-shirt was thrown. After the t-shirt was thrown. Why did she make the joke? Because she's in Indiana. She is a Pacers fan supporting the Pacers, and there is a fan with another team's jersey. It is a joke. It is a joke. And like, look, obviously, there are different scenarios. If she whispered something to Natasha Howard and then Natasha Howard launched the t-shirt and it hit a Bucks fan in the face and then she jumped up and started celebrating, that's different. If she launched a t-shirt at someone that wasn't looking because they were wearing a Bucks jersey and hit them in the face, it's different. She literally made a joke. But it's these people. The reason why you have to talk about this situation. The reason why you have to talk about this situation is there's people like this who are actually working. I'm not necessarily saying working for WNBA teams, but working adjacent to WNBA teams. She made the joke while putting on a goofy face while nobody had any t-shirts left to throw. Like, it's just madness. It is just absolutely madness. And I hate seeing stuff like this because it does such a disservice to everybody. And it works like in everything. Like, it's the same difference as someone says it wasn't a joke, Caitlin Clark's a savage. I mean, she had 16 t-shirts herself. She could, if she wanted to throw one at the face of a person wearing a Bucks jersey, she very well could have herself. Or if she really wanted to happen, she could have said it to Natasha Howard before Natasha Howard threw the towel or threw the t-shirt. But the amount of people that were like, I'm seeing like entire posts about Caitlin Clark encouraging assault on a fan, and I'm like, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. Like, do these people not listen to themselves? And by the way, for all the people in the comment section, oh, but people treated Angel like this. Why are people bringing up Angel Reese in this scenario? And that's the thing. People are like, oh, if Angel Reese did this. Well, no, like, you have if, ands, or buts. And yeah, there are idiots on the other side as well. I'm sorry. You being the equivalent of these idiots on the other side. You saying, oh, if this player did this, this would happen, so we're going to accuse Caitlin Clark of assault. You're not even equally as, you're as bad. You're as bad. Troll's going to come up with every excuse to tear him down before the season starts. Exactly. Overthinking is not that deep. The problem is that when it comes to the media, it is that deep. It is that deep. And it shouldn't be. It actually shouldn't be. And I hope in a year or two, that I don't have to make videos like this. I don't have to talk about this topic. But I'm never not going to do it. Because unfortunately, a lot of big media coverage hired people that don't know the first thing about basketball to like cover the WNBA. And now you've got a bunch of these people that don't know, again, the first thing about sports. talking about it and are trying to keep the story alive because they don't know enough. They don't know enough basketball to talk basketball, so they need to keep these stories alive. They need to keep the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark story alive because they don't know enough about the sport of basketball for anything else. They don't know enough about the sport of basketball, which is why Caitlin Clark didn't win unanimous MVP last year. And the annoying thing is that Elle Duncan knows enough about basketball to know that A'ja Wilson is not on a 3P for MVP. That A'ja Wilson is not. Caitlin Clark is not going to be the favorite to win MVP because of freaking voter. She's not going to win MVP by voter fatigue, which is annoying. That's why the thing that annoys me is some of the stuff with Elle Duncan is it's clear Elle Duncan knows what she's talking about. She's just pushing it. But it's frustrating to see. It is frustrating to see all of this stuff. And no matter what she does, and you're going to see it through the year, by the way, Sydney Colson's going to get herself into a lot of trouble with those people on Twitter. Sydney Colson is going to get herself into a lot of trouble because she's going to do exactly what she did last year, except now that they don't like Caitlin Clark, but they like the Aces. She's going to do the exact same thing, and they're going to somehow blame it on her. Like, Sydney Colson said something crazy out of pocket about Caitlin Chen, and suddenly it's, she fits right in Indiana, and I'm like, oh my god. And like that was the general prevailing thought. And it's just embarrassing. It is embarrassing. And that's the thing where it's like, it is the equivalent of like NBA Twitter or like LeBronchitis tweeting something. The problem is that Lake Show Yo isn't in Twitter spaces with NBA players, isn't working for NBC. And that's the problem. It is the equivalent almost of putting in freaking Lake Show Yo and hiring him and putting him in the media in the WNBA, which is mental. Which is absolutely mental. See how Oakland Raider fans used to treat other teams' fans. I'm a Leeds United fan. I am a Leeds United fan. I have a de facto season. I'll be a season ticket holder in a year. I go to 10 games a year. I literally am in the crowd with fans shouting abuse at each other for 90 minutes. And that's a good thing about sports because once the game's over, thankfully now, it used to not be the case, but thankfully now, once the game's over, all's good. All's good. But yeah, it's just a mad situation all around. And you kind of hope that it stops at some stage soon, but you just know it's never gonna. You just know it's not gonna stop. But yeah. Any other topics? Where's the tinfoil hat? Oh, I can't. I remember I wore the tinfoil hat. What was the video I wore the tinfoil hat for? I wore a tinfoil hat for a video. And I think it was... I remember what it was for. I remember what it was for. I wore the tinfoil hat when the Player of the Month thing. Chrissy Sides is gone. That's all that matters. Yep. Also, by the way, so many people fell for this. Like, it is assumed that it is the Phoenix Mercury. There is nothing. This is 100% not backed up anywhere. So many people I've seen spilling the tea. Consider how they did Cloud. I said that I bet it would be Phoenix. It probably would be Phoenix because of the way Matt Ishbia has been talking about Caitlin Clark. Now we know who gave Angel the Rookie of the Year vote. It very well could have been, but there is nothing to back up this claim. There's absolutely nothing to back it up. Like, I don't think it's going to be it's unlikely. I think it's very likely that it was the Phoenix Mercury. I think it's extremely likely it was the Phoenix Mercury. But there is absolutely nothing to back that up. Absolutely nothing. Don't care when one bit for Paige Bueckers. She won't be the reason why I watch WNBA. It'll be only because of Caitlin Clark. Cool. There's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people that are really focused on Caitlin Clark, and that's fine as well. And is absolutely fine as well. Reese being rookie, no. It was the Player of the Month thing. It was like the conspiracy theory that I thought it was just a typo that they put out her footage for Player of the Month. Molly Miller got hired by Arizona State. honestly, very little idea. Very little idea. A coach going from D2 to D1, it'll be interesting. But, like, it's not uncommon. It's not too uncommon to see people, like, go up a level and succeed. Also, it's probably more common to go up a level and fail, but you never know. You never know. So, is there anything more, lads, to talk about today? Is there anything more? Check out someone else, AJ Ross merch. I will. But, yeah, not going to do it live on stream. Paige reminds you of Kobe. Maybe. I've already discussed Sid Cam. Yes, I have. I've already discussed Sid Cam. But actually, I really want to discuss this right here. This is something that has been around for a couple of days now. I was originally going to make this video when I was in Mayo. But I have to make this video now. And it's like, you've got to be more. You got to be more convincing. This is clearly a clip. I don't even know what podcast this is. This is the most clip farming debate I have ever seen. This is the most clip farming debate I have ever seen. Like, this is two guys. This is literally, it's so hard. Like, there's no argument for Paige over Caitlin right now. Because when they played in college against each other, Paige was better. Or sorry, Caitlin was better. Caitlin was better than Paige when they played against each other in college. And then Caitlin was 4th in MVP voting. And Paige was not even National Player of the Year in college this year. So, there's no argument for Paige over Caitlin. But this is the most clip-farmed thing I've ever seen. There is no way. Game knows game when it comes to clickbait. When it comes to clickbait, clip farming, game knows game. You guys might not... Obviously, I've got 40,000 subscribers here, but, like, you see the 2 YouTube plaques behind me right there? Like, I was one of the biggest Twitch streamers in the world. I was one of the bigger YouTubers in the world at a period when 2K was relevant. So I know clip farm when I see it, and I know fake arguments when I see it because I do it so much. I've played devil's advocate in so many situations, and I know when someone's doing it. Let's take a look.
I think Caitlin Clark is better than Paige Bueckers, and here's why.
There's no obviously. The debate is pointless. It's absolutely pointless right now.
Cat, why you say that? Go ahead.
I get it. Caitlin Clark has revolutionized.
He's looking at the sky. He's reading. He's reading something. He's reading something.
The game, but Paige Bueckers is like Kyrie Irving, where her bag is phenomenal. She can do everything. She doesn't have to live and die by the 3. She's the whole package.
Caitlin finishes at the basket better than Paige Bueckers.
The whole package. She can facilitate. She can get to the rack.
Caitlin led the W and college in assists. She led colleges in assists 3 out of 4 years, then led W.
She got a bag that nobody can handle. She just won a national championship, something that Caitlin Clark did not do. When you look at it like that, Paige Bueckers
trying not to laugh.
Is better than Caitlin Clark.
I disagree there. Now I'm going to talk about this, right, with Caitlin Clark. She was all WNBA first team as a rookie. That's immediate impact off the jump, right? The shooting prowess is just unmatched. She's going to just impact the game in like a Steph Curry fashion for women. We haven't seen anything like this. I do think she's the end all be all right now in terms of the new crop of superstars that's out in the WNBA.
I stand by this. This person does not watch Caitlin Clark either. Like, this is, neither of these people are watching these players. She literally just said she made the all WNBA first team and she shoots from far away. She's female Steph Curry. It is literally, this argument, this is an AI argument. This is literally the AI arguments. She shoots like Stephen Curry. She's the female Steph Curry. She plays nothing like Steph Curry other than the fact she shoots from far away. And she shoots from way further away than Steph Curry. She's closer to like a Steve Nash. She's like a Steve Nash mixed with, or if Steve Nash played in modern NBA or modern WNBA. Mixture between like Halliburton and Nash. With a, mixture between like Halliburton and Nash. Maybe mixture between like Magic and Curry. But like there is no player in we've seen like Caitlin Clark, men or women, which is why she's so popular. There's no one you can compare her to. Comparing Paige Bueckers to Kyrie. If you're gonna compare someone in the WNBA to Kyrie, it's Paige Bueckers' teammate, Arike Ogunbowale. It is. Someone said in my chat saying it's like comparing Curry and Nash to Kobe. Paige Bueckers is nothing like Kobe. Kobe would not stand in a corner for entire fourth quarters and watch his team. He did it one time ever. Caitlin Clark is closer to mentality. Skill-wise, maybe she'd be Kobe. But, like, I don't know if there's a comparison with Paige Bueckers, because when it comes to Paige, the maddest thing about Paige is that if Paige had the mentality of Caitlin Clark, she'd be better than Caitlin Clark, and I stand by that. But she just doesn't. And you can't teach, not that you can't teach dog, because I'm not going to argue that against Paige, but there's like a very rare mentality that you saw in a Kobe. It's in Caitlin. It was in Diana Taurasi. Jordan had that mentality. Like, even I wouldn't say LeBron has that mentality. Like, it's a very rare type of mentality that Caitlin Clark has, that Paige Bueckers doesn't have. Like, not saying she's not a winner, not saying she's not, like, a exceptional player, that she's not going to be a brilliant player. But give Paige the triangle offense in the big 2025. In the big 2025. Kobe would probably play more like, I would say, modern Ant-Man. Obviously better. And maybe not even just because of skills, because of he just has more. He has more game. But he would probably play more like modern Ant-Man than anything else. Just the way he plays, because of analytics have just taken over basketball. Like, but when it comes to Paige, it's really hard to make a player-by-player comparison with Paige, because it would be like if Kobe Bryant was passive. It would be like passive Kobe. I'm trying to just think of like stars that have been just, and you can't even say like early LeBron, who was a bit passive because he was just ultra aggressive going to the basket. It's a real tough one. Like Kawhi-esque on offense, maybe for Paige. Kawhi-esque on offense, like as far as her shot creating is concerned. Like her handle is good and it's extremely functional. She's an extremely functional handle. Like, she's able to get to her spots and she's able to just rise up. But like at sometimes isn't kind of the main player. Yeah, I'll go Kawhi. I will say Kawhi, because we saw even like in that Raptors run, there were a lot of times he was deferring, especially down the stretch in those finals, to Freddie VanVleet. Chris Paul, don't think she reads the game like a Chris Paul. I don't think she's got that level of like feel for the game. And like it's a really hard to make a like for like comparison, because it's like Kobe without the Mamba mentality like could be something. And then if Paige somehow finds that switch, if she finds the switch that she had when she was in high school, if she finds the switch that she had, like Paige was a menace. Let's not forget, like, in a not quite Caitlin Clark level, but Paige was a menace. People forget that. If she can manage to get that back, then we could be looking at this debate in a couple of years. But I think it's unfair to have that debate right now. It's really unfair to have the Caitlin Clark-Paige debate, because Caitlin Clark was as close to winning MVP in the WNBA as Paige Bueckers was to winning National Player of the Year in college, and Paige was 23 years old. And Paige was the third best player on her team in the Final Four and championship game. So, I think it's an unfair debate to have, but I understand Paige going number one. But either way, these are people that have just, all he said is she got a bag, and all he said about her is, she made the WNBA first team, she shoots from far away. Not talking about the biggest thing with Caitlin Clark was her gravity. Her gravity was better than her shooting last year, and she didn't shoot the ball particularly well last year. It was the fact that her gravity and her passing and her ability to, she's a rare breed where she's able to use her gravity to create the space, and she's able to use her passing skills to find the player. And that's probably the biggest thing with Caitlin Clark. It's just her all-around offensive game. Defensively needs a lot to be worked on. And the only real debate for Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark is defense. And I don't know how good Paige Bueckers is going to be on the defensive end of the W. She'll be better than Caitlin, but I don't know by how much. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And that is like literally the only debate. That is the only debate right there. So, also the last thing I'm going to be talking about here on this stream. So we're gonna talk about this, then we are finishing our stream. So it is the final topic for the stream. We're going to be talking about Flaw J. Johnson. So Flaw J. Johnson is obviously in the next year's draft. I think she would have gone 2/3 last year. I think she would have gone number 2/number 3. And if you guys agree that Flau'jae probably was going to go in and around that range, obviously, subscribe. We are trying to hit 45,000 by May the 3rd. We're not going to do it, but that's the goal. Did we hit 50 yesterday? We got 45. We're trying to do it by the start of the season anyway. So if you guys are in the live stream and not subscribed, if you could leave a like on the video and the stream, that would also be greatly appreciated. But Flau'jae Johnson was ranked as outside or barely in the lottery. And Flau'jae is not happy. So ESPN made a 2026 mock draft for the WNBA. They made a 2026 mock draft and they forgot. I think it is purely for college because the probable number 1 overall pick is not on the mock draft. Is literally not on the mock draft, but obviously I'm just gonna scroll down, but Flau'jae Johnson is number 5. They put Flau'jae Johnson at 5. They have her behind Latson, fair enough. They have her behind Olivia Miles. How is she behind AZ Foot? How is she behind AZ Foot? I'm sorry, how is she behind AZ Foot? I understand AZ Foot was fantastic in the Final Four, and especially the championship game. AZ, like, we can't forget, AZ Foot missed her first 11 shots against USC. Like, AZ Foot had some terrible games last year. But Flau'jae Johnson herself comments this reel. She comments this reel with her being the 5th pick. Like, I would say Flau'jae has a very good chance of going number 1 in this draft. She's a really good chance of going number 1. Because she is the biggest name in this draft. Like, if we're talking about pure potential, I would say it's going to be one of Flau'jae Johnson. Depending, if a team needs a big, they might draft Lauren Betts. They might take Lauren Betts if a team needs a big. But if a team doesn't need a big, they're going to draft one of... Well, if a team needs a big, they're probably going to draft Betts. They might be... take Awafam, to be fair. If a team is like the Valkyries, if the Valkyries get the 1 pick, if somehow the Sky get the number 1 overall pick, they're going to take Flau'jae or Latson or something. But like, if they want a big and you are a long-term project, you take Awafam. If not, you take Betts. But after that, as far as the guards are concerned, there is no way. If Olivia Miles and Flau'jae were both in this year's draft, Flau'jae goes above Olivia Miles. Flau'jae is younger than Olivia Miles. Flau'jae didn't stink it up for the second half of her season last year. And Flau'jae is taller than Olivia Miles. As a combo guard, is a more modern basketball player. And saying Flau'jae needs to spend more time in the gym and less in the recording studio. So let's talk about that, actually. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Flau'jae Johnson. So how can you tell somebody's playing enough basketball? You look at improvements. You look at how the players improve and what the players improve at. So we're going to look at Flau'jae Johnson's year-by-year stats. We're going to look at her year-by-year stats right now. So, 11 points per game as a freshman. And her minutes, by the way, aren't that different. 14.9 points per game as a sophomore. 18.6 points per game as a junior. So, Flau'jae is improving by 4 points per game a year. So we are talking about somebody who is improved by 4 points per game per year because they do something other than basketball and are saying that is why they don't care enough about basketball. In the NBA, the same thing happened to Kel'el Ware. Everyone talked about how Kel'el Ware didn't care about basketball, how he doesn't like basketball. And then that's why he fell to like 50 in the draft. But he killed it at the Combine. He killed it in Indiana. He was unbelievable because he had a bad first year and he didn't look like he cared. Meant that he fell out of the lottery when he should have been a top 5 pick in the draft. Like, that's the thing. How much would she improve if she just worked on ball? How much would Caitlin Clark improve if she didn't golf? Like, is that a question? Is that a question? Like, basketball is a priority for Flau'jae. If touring was a priority, she wouldn't have gone back to LSU. AZ is the woman version of Klay Thompson, one of the most beautiful shooting forms. AZ Fudd does not dip. She's going to be inconsistent for her entire career. She does not dip on her jump shot. It is literally a... You can guarantee there's going to be... a shooter's going to be inconsistent if they don't dip. Like, not that she's not a bad... Not what you call it, a bad shooter. She's ever going to be a bad shooter, but she's going to be extremely inconsistent from the three-point line. Like, she literally, wherever she catches the ball, it goes from. So she's going to be reliant on good passers, which she had at UConn. So depending on where she goes, it can be a little bit of an iffy one. But, yeah, it is a... Genuinely, it's a mad one for Flau'jae. Like, she is rightfully pissed. She is rightfully pissed at this because, look, she doesn't go number 1 in this year's draft, but I think the Storm probably, even though Malonga is generational, they still might just go, you know what, we'll take the sure thing. And now suddenly falling below a bunch of other players. So what do I mean by dip when it comes to Fudd? And by the way, AZ Fudd is projected to go like 10th in this year's draft. So if you look at every shooter, Steph Curry included, they catch the ball and they will bring the ball into a position where they start their shot motion from. Because they bring it down, there is a rhythm in their shot. So by bringing it down a little bit, every one of your shots are the same. AZ Fudd, wherever she catches the ball, it's gone. It is hot potato with AZ Fudd. Wherever she catches it, it's gone. So if she gets a bad pass, if she's playing for a team without a good point guard, or without a system where she's open or stuff like that, it's literally, if she starts catching passes from here or here, she's just going to start flinging. Which is why there is an inconsistency with AZ Fudd. Which is why she's someone who can miss 7, 8 threes in a row and she's a bit streaky. As good as AZ Fudd is as a shooter, there's a reason why, even on the men's level, every single player dips when they shoot, including Steph Curry. Klay not as much, but Klay rather dip. Klay brings his shot to here every time. But yeah, there is a reason why good shooters dip and why bad shooters don't. You notice that some bad shooters, like that have good quote unquote textbook form, the reason why they can't shoot is because they fling. Because they do an AZ Fudd on that. AZ Fudd's a really good shooter, but it's a reason why I think in the pro she might be a little bit inconsistent. But yeah, there's no reason there is literally no logic to take AZ Fudd over Flau'jae unless you just want UConn tax. UConn tax is the only reason to take AZ Fudd over Flau'jae. AZ Fudd how she won Final Four MVP over Sarah Strong is beyond me. But like, AZ Fudd is a very solid player. She's going to come off the bench. She was projected before, when people thought she was going into the draft, she was projected to go like 9th or 10th. There were mock drafts that had her going in the second round. And for that reason, like, you had Flau'jae, who, when it was rumor of her going into the WNBA draft, she was being mocked as high as 2. And I do not understand how they have Flau'jae at 5. Flau'jae at 5, lads. That is crazy. And to be fair, she's rightfully pissed at that. Full Wiley don't defeat her. Full Wiley can't shoot. Full Wiley, again, is as inconsistent a shooter as there is. Full Wiley is as inconsistent a shooter as there is in basketball. But, yeah, lads, that is it. That is it. We are finishing up the stream right now. Thank you guys for coming into the stream. Pretty good stream right there. Average of about 250 viewers, which is crazy. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, I guess. If you guys are watching this as a video. Anyway, I will see you guys, and if you guys are late, it'll be a video. As well as that, there's going to be an awful lot of videos from this stream.